1.2.215. New fastest lap for you.
All right, let's take a look at that. So I think you can do this first or second lap. I like second lap a little better, but feel free to try it first lap as well. So going into 3 and 4 of the lap coming to the green, what I'm going to do is I'm just going really slowly and trying to get the car pointed down the hill as early as possible. Because if you wait too long, this area up here in 3 and 4 kind of likes to snap you loose. So I want to gradually like ease it into being in this area and then just get the car pointed down early enough to where I can straight line the exit. So you see I come all the way down to the first seam here, and if I do that, then my exit is a lot straighter than if I was having to turn all the way up here. It's going to be a little loose though. You got to make sure to keep your steering wheel not too turned, or else you're going to kick out the rears. So anyways, we're going to turn 1 here, and there's a couple ways that you can approach this. I call it the dive bomb line, but there's really, you can enter all the way down to your lefts on the seam here, or you can enter all the way up with your lefts on the next seam. It's whatever, when you get on the brake, you don't want to really turn the car, as funny as that sounds. I turn the car a tiny, tiny bit, but then you see, I'm not really turning. Look at that. I'm not really turning the wheel, but I'm using a lot of brake. And so basically, I'm just getting on the brake at that half pressure and just letting the car kind of go where it wants to go. So this time, I have my lefts kind of lined up right here. That's okay. This anywhere between here and here is going to be fine. So I'm dragging my brake and just keeping the car straight. And then as I approach the top of the hill, I'm going to make a diamond here. Now, this is very bad on the tires, so don't follow this line if you are looking to do long run here. Wait until we get to the long run. So I'm using the wheel now. I kept the car tight on purpose because I don't want the rears to kick out. And then right before I hit the top of the diamond, I go to half throttle and I just hold it. Hold between 30 and 50% throttle and just hold it, let the car turn down the hill, and then you're gonna feel a weight shift, right? So for the longest time, we're going to be holding this throttle and this wheel, and the car's going to be like, wait, we're going to hit the wall. But no, if you wait long enough with the same inputs, eventually the car's going to be like, okay, I want to go down here now. And if you wait for that, then you unload the wheel right as you feel that, or else you're going to spin out. And then that's when you force full throttle, is when you get to that diamond, the end of the diamond. So that was a really good 1 and 2. Let's look at that one more time, no pausing. This was probably the best I've ever done 1 and 2. So sorry, that was too far forward. So brake, straight line, start turning the wheel, get on the throttle right before you hit the top of the diamond, and then just hold it at that 30%. It's going to weight shift down the hill, and that's when you unturn the wheel and get on the throttle. Smoother the throttle, the better here. You don't want to be stabbing it. So smooth throttle is going to really help there. Okay, off to 3 and 4. Kind of a similar idea, except we're not going to diamond as much. I'm still turning, I'm letting the brake turn me, and then I'm just going to let the car diamond up about half a lane from the seam. So this isn't as open-ended as 1 and 2. You do want your lefts pretty much on this seam right here. So you brake and aim at that seam, and then once you get down there, you kind of just let the car slide up just a little bit, and then start turning the wheel and forcing about 30 to 40% throttle. Same thing. Once your car weight shifts, you back off the wheel and you smoothly throttle up. And that is how you approach 3 and 4. Similar idea to 1 and 2, you just don't have the same diamond concept. You have a little tiny diamond, but it's not as exaggerated as 1 and 2. So one more time, brake, back off the brake to a trail, start turning the wheel, throttle up to the top of the diamond, hold that 30 to 40% throttle until it weight shifts, then you start raising the throttle smoothly and unturning the wheel at the same time. If you are raising the throttle at all and keeping your wheel at the same angle, you are going to spin out. It has to be one leads to the other. But for more on that, let's go take a look at the long run. All right, now let's talk about long run a bit. So the lines that you saw here are kind of what they're going to be like in the race, but there's 2 different ways you can approach this. So at IRP, it seems like the absolute best people are able to run just this top line where they never really go off the top lane, but you can only really make this work if you don't turn the wheel too much in the corners. So you'll see here that as I'm going in here, you're trying to maximize the rotation that you get under your brake and your throttle. and it might be a little bit slower because you do that. And then the alternative is just kind of that dive bomb line we were talking about in the beginning, where you kind of drive all the way up to the wall. But look how much I'm turning the wheel. But notice that I'm turning the wheel when the car is like really slow, so it kind of negates a little bit of the wear if you only crank the wheel once you're like extremely slow. But it's not like you're going 0 miles an hour, so it's still going to wear some. So there's two different ways you can approach this race. I like the diamond line better personally, but I think that this top line has the higher ceiling for a full run. Now, are you going to get a full run at this track and see fixed? Maybe if you run like a late night split, but you probably just want to run what's most comfortable for you, because you're probably going to have short bursts of runs, and you'll probably be changing tires maybe twice throughout the race, to where late run tire doesn't really seem like much of an issue. But you see how I'm kind of just like rolling the top, and it turns out to be pretty darn fast. And I'm just holding that throttle point until I just get pretty much straight. And 2/10 off of my all-time best. Like, no one's gonna pass you if you're only 2/10 off your best on lap 5, you know what I mean? Or at least if you're running that lap time. But you can still run this like entry where you go lower, but you see how much more wheel I'm using to keep it off the wall. So it's more about what you're comfortable with. If you find that you're going into these corners too deep, and you're like turning the wheel a ton just to keep it off the wall right here, and you even get it on the wall a bit, then yeah, you might just want to run that diamond line. But a lot of your issues will be solved by entering earlier, and then just kind of sticking to this top line and just rolling throttle. Oops. I went on full throttle too earlier. A big tip for a long run is you don't want to go full throttle on your exit of the corner until your wheel is almost completely straight. And then also, once you slide your tires once, you've noticed that next corner, I had no grip for the next corner because my tires were heated up too much. So if you slide your tires once, make sure to take the next couple corners really, really safe. That is how you are able to not spin out after smoking your tires. So you see my tires are still smoked. But anyways, I think I covered everything I want to cover, so let's go check what the tire percentages are at. 97, 97. The right rear might wear a little bit more here. If the right rear is wearing too much for you, consider that diamond line, because that diamond line will put emphasis on the right front. Just make sure not to throttle up too quickly. Alright, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.